For most of the 19th century, changing borders on political maps made little difference to United States settlers who wanted our land, or especially to the Mexican government, which paid bounty hunters $100 for the scalp of an Apache warrior and $50 for an Apache woman.
There was a slave trade going through this whole area. The Navajos had lost tremendous numbers. In fact, my mother's father was either the son of a slave or else a slave himself. They needed the cheap labor just like they needed the black labor from Africa, and here it was Indian people because we were still subhuman to them, just another beast of burden. This land to Apaches is a living entity and it's sacred, but to white people it means minerals, it means gold, it means silver and copper and coal. And the Indian indigenous rights didn't mean anything to them.
In 1861, with the United States bogged down in a bloody civil war half a continent to the east, General James Carleton and the California Battalion rode into our region with orders to defend Union supply lines that passed through Apache country. But Carleton soon tied his military orders to a larger agenda, the conquest of our land.
It was just an almost hunger for land. The pioneers moving westward, saying it was their manifest destiny to do this. It was their God-given right to do this. And whoever was living there, well, you know, it's okay because it's my destiny to take that land over and let's wipe them off the face of the earth.
The first resistance he met came from the Mescalero Apache.
There is to be no council held with the Indians, nor any talks. The men are to be slain whenever they can be found. The women and children may be taken as prisoners, but of course, they are not to be killed. General James Carleton. Orders to the officers of the California Battalion.
The campaign was brief and vicious. These were the first battles of a long guerrilla war that would burn the drama of Indian resistance into popular culture and turn the names of Cochise, Victorio, and Geronimo into legend. In battle after battle, the Apache fought to exhaustion and then surrendered.
We have fought you so long as we had rifles and powder. Give us weapons and turn us loose. We will fight you again. But we are worn out. We have no more provisions, no means to live. Your troops are everywhere. You have driven us from our last and best stronghold. We have no more heart. Chief Cadet, Apache.
The first wave of defeated Mescalero were imprisoned at Bosque Redondo, a dusty, flat, unlivable prison camp 300 miles to the east on the banks of the Pecos River. But the Apache resistance had only begun. For 25 years, traditional bands from the smallest and most nomadic of the southwestern tribes, led by the medicine man Geronimo, waged a hit-and-run guerrilla war against the United States Army. They fought from strongholds in Mexico and the Chiricahua Mountains of southern Arizona. When the fighting finally ended in the late 1880s, it was estimated that over $40 million had been spent by the military to kill 100 Apaches, who in their turn killed over 1,000 Army troops and settlers.
When Geronimo finally surrendered, the tribe was sent down to Florida. And down there they started dying, as my aunt says, dying like flies. Because they're mountain people, and here they were stuck by the ocean.
Unlike other tribes, the price of Apache resistance to reservation life was to be held as prisoners of war. The consequences have been severe.
Our tribe perhaps made the mistake of fighting for what we believed in, our culture and our land. And in doing so, we lost maybe 80% of our numbers because of war, because of disease. It was a government policy. This genocide policy was in effect to get rid of our tribe, not to rehabilitate us or not to do anything except just to put us in areas where tuberculosis and malaria and other diseases would eventually eliminate our tribe. And Geronimo, even to the end of his life, he said he wished he had fought to his death because he didn't know that they would make us prisoners of war for 28 years.
Several times from his final exile in Oklahoma, Geronimo pleaded with President Teddy Roosevelt for the freedom of his people.
It is my land, my home, my father's land, to which now I ask to be allowed to return. If this could be, I might die in peace, feeling that my people placed in their native homes would increase in numbers and that our name would not become extinct. I pray to you, cut the ropes, make me free. Let me die in my own country, an old man who has been punished enough. Geronimo.
Roosevelt refused his plea, and Geronimo died near Lawton, Oklahoma in 1909.